Hey everyone, welcome back to MNMM IELTS. This is Manmohit. Now guys, in today's video, I am going to share with you all some great tips for your IELTS reading module, specifically for people who are aiming for a band 8 in the IELTS reading. I personally have got an IELTS band 8 in my reading module, so I would be sharing my personal tips while studying, which I followed to make sure that I was able to achieve that 8 band, and few things for all the students out there. And all the tips that I'm going to share over here, all of them, they might not apply to you. Maybe you are already following few of them, but then there are definitely going to be few key pointers which you can have in your day-to-day habit when you practice for your IELTS reading module after that. And that applies to both IELTS General and IELTS Academic. So I can already assure that all these tips will be applicable to each and every single one of you who is aiming for an 8 band score in the IELTS reading module. So IELTS reading, yes, it is a bit complex as compared to the other modules in the exam. Specifically, if you compare it with IELTS speaking or IELTS listening, reading is a bit more complex. But then if you just follow these few key pointers that I'm going to share, I am sure and I can assure you, you will definitely be having an extra band or two while you give your next IELTS exam. So without wasting any further ado, let's dive right into it. Now, first one, let's have a look how to get a band 8. First thing first, we have to understand is the difficulty of the paragraphs. Now, in the IELTS exam, if it's an academic exam, you would be getting 3 separate paragraphs, 3 separate questions. And if it's an IELTS general, you would be getting about 5. So we have to understand the difficulty pattern. Specifically for the IELTS academic, when you get the 3 questions, usually the first one is always the easiest, followed by medium level, and final one is the most difficult one out of all 3. But then I have definitely seen few patterns in different students' exam where the first one was the hardest, then they gave a medium level, and then at the very last they gave an easiest one. But always keep in mind there has to be a mix of all these 3 types of paragraphs in the exam. You do get an easiest one, you do get a hardest one. So when you go and give your exam, you always have to divide the time, manage the time accordingly. If a paragraph is the easiest one out of the lot, when you are attempting those questions in the exam, you have to try to manage the time in a way you give the least amount of time on the easiest paragraph and the maximum amount of time on the hardest paragraph. Technically, they do give you 20 minutes per paragraph in the IELTS reading module, but then it's not that you have to give 20 minutes on every single paragraph. You can give 10 minutes on one, 25 on the other, 5 on one, 30 on the other. It's completely your job. It's completely under your control. But yes, in 60 minutes, you have to complete all the 3 questions. So when it's the easiest paragraph, I should definitely recommend you to not give more than 10 to 15 minutes. If it's the hardest, give it about 25 to 30 minutes. So you have to divide the time accordingly to make sure that every single paragraph based on their difficulty is dealt properly. Next one, as we just discussed, is the time management. It's the most crucial one. There would be leading few points which I would be sharing after this would be leading to and related to the time management, but this is what you have to do. Never give 20 minutes blindly on every single paragraph. It has to be based on the difficulty of them. Now, related to the time management, how do we play smart in the real exam? So guys, you just have to understand there would be certain questions in the real exam which you will not be aware of, which you will not be sure of the answers for. If you do not know the answer for a specific question, and that is what personally I also did in my IELTS real exam. I did the computer based exam, and back in the day I also did the paper based IELTS as well. So I have done IELTS multiple times, paper based, computer based, just to get a bit of an idea, a bit of a feel of both of these types of exams. And this is how I used to save my time as well. If I did not know an answer for any one of the questions, I would first obviously try to find the right answer for that. But then if I wasn't able to find the answer within 1 to 2 minutes, I just skip that answer for at least for the time being and move on towards my other questions. Once I am done with the other questions, that's when I will come back to the questions which I've skipped, and then I will make sure that I will, whatever time is remainder in the exam, I will take that time to solve the questions which I've skipped. Never take so much time on one question if you're unsure of the answer, if you're unable to find it, because then you're leaving less time towards the other questions. So if you make one mistake, there is a chance you may make more mistakes because you have got shortage of time. So always play smart with the time management. Next one is, like I said, choosing between computer and paper based. Now I personally have given both of the different types. but it completely depends upon you which one you want to go for. If you are someone who is a paper and pen person who likes writing something using a pen or a pencil on a notebook on a paper, you should go with the paper based IELTS. But if you're someone who is good with the technology, is happy to do an exam on a computer, then you can go for a computer based IELTS. In terms of the checking, there is no difference at all. It is still going to be backed by a real human being. So even if you give it on a paper, even if you give it on a computer, the scoring is still going to be exactly the same. It's all about whatever you feel you're the most convenient with. I feel more comfortable in computer based IELTS now because I am good with technology. I like using a computer, I like using a laptop. But then if you're someone who loves paper and pen, you can still go for the paper and pen. There's nothing wrong in that. So always choose wisely out of the given two. Next one, focus on the important words. Now, when you get a paragraph in the questions, when you read a question could be very lengthy. But when you are going to find your answer, you are going to look for the keywords in them. Whenever you read a question, look for whatever is the important words, important keyword that is given out of it. The question might be, why is Adelaide considered better than Melbourne in terms of livability or in terms of cleanliness? So what I would do is, why do you, all these kind of words are not important. The important words for me are your Adelaide, Melbourne, better than, livability, cleanliness. All those important words are going to be your keywords, and those are the words you should be looking out for, not the complete question. And even when you skim and scan and try to find the answer in the given paragraphs, never start reading and every single word thoroughly. You do not have that much amount of time in the real exam. Just start looking for those keywords. The moment you see those keywords like Adelaide or Melbourne, cleanliness, all those words written in the question, when you start searching in your paragraphs, those are the keywords you should be looking for. The moment you find those keywords, those are the sentences you actually start reading properly. And that's how you can save on a lot of time and obviously have a better chance of getting a correct answer for that. So always focus on your important keywords. Next one being, sometimes the words can be different, and that's absolutely fine. So it's no possibility, or let's say there is no rule as such from IELTS that the words that are given to you in the questions would be exactly the same to the words that are given to you in the real paragraphs. There is a chance they may paraphrase the sentences. There is a chance they may use a different word instead of the same word. They might use a synonym. So instead of using the word importance, in the paragraph, they might use the word significance. So you have to just keep in mind that you are not just blindly looking for those keywords. If you're not able to find the keywords, start looking for the meaning of those words. Start looking for the synonyms of those words. Always keep this thing in mind. It will save you a lot of time in the long run. You have to make sure it's only 20 minutes, it's only 60 minutes for the complete IELTS reading exam. So always look for the meaning of the words, paraphrased words, or different sentence structure altogether. But one way or the other, you will just have to make sure when you read the text properly, when you read the text, you first obviously look for the exact keywords, but if not, you definitely start looking for the paraphrased words instead of that. Next one, and that's my last and the golden tip, I would say. Now, people might take this tip very lightly and for granted, and they be like, that's very basic, everyone says that, but you have to understand the importance of those things. How important are they? People will say to you, just if you're practicing for your reading, start reading every day. Reading a newspaper, reading news, reading a book, reading an article, reading a magazine or whatever. But I am of the assumption that if you are a person who's not too much into reading, who doesn't like reading a lot, that is fine. Like everyone has got their own hobbies, own skills. Everyone has got their own preference of consuming the information. If you are someone who is not a reading person, that is fine. I would still recommend to read bits and pieces, but if you're not a reading person, that's fine. Listen something. If you cannot read a book, listen to an audiobook. Audiobook are so famous nowadays. You can literally just subscribe to Kindle, or there's so many different websites, so many different apps out there which you can subscribe and start listening to the books. You can even use your free library facilities and resources where you can connect your account to the libraries in your country or in your state, and then you can access the free library audiobooks as well. There's so many resources out there that you can utilize anything that you want, but you can listen to audiobooks instead. Again, if you're not into that, you can even start watching something in English every day. You can start watching TV shows, movies, start watching different animations, different YouTube videos, different video content on different websites, and have the subtitles on. That's the most important part. If you're watching a video, not don't just watch, have the subtitles on, and start reading out those subtitles alongside that speaker. So whatever that person is speaking, you start speaking alongside that person by reading the subtitles that are given to you on the screen. That would be the most interesting thing you can do, because everyone loves watching movies, they love watching TV shows, watching YouTube videos, all that stuff. And if you turn on the subtitles and start reciting whatever has been given in front of you, and you start comparing and mimicking the speaker, that you will realize after a week or so that it definitely helps in your reading skills, because you're reading so much of English which is written in front of you on the screen. So if you can't read a book, listen to an audiobook. If you can't listen to an audiobook, start watching YouTube videos, movies, TV shows, different websites, different videos, but have the subtitles on. That will do wonders for your reading skills, and that will eventually help you to increase your band score in the IELTS reading module. This is what I wanted to share with all of you in this particular video. I hope it was helpful. If you have got any questions, feel free to put that down in the comments down below, and I will answer as quickly as possible to all of you. Guys, all the best if you have got your exams coming soon. Practice hard, very important module of your exam. All the best, stay safe wherever you are, and I will see you all in the next video.